At the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty, Cao became Cao Cao's second brother. In order to prevent Wei's career from going to waste, Cao Bin immediately decided to clean up these insects for his eldest brother. Taking Xuzhou, defeating Lv, taking the emperor hostage, and slaughtering Yuan Shu, capturing Yuan Shao before the official crossing, turning the Red Cliff to seize the east of the Yangtze River, defeating Liu Bei in the Battle of Hanzhong, and returning all 9 provinces of the world to Cao. In the 25th year of Jian'an, Cao knew that the deadline was approaching, and before his death, he entrusted Cao Pi with the following matters. After I die, I won't make any decisions about foreign affairs. Can I ask your second uncle? Cao Pi. What about indecisive internal matters? Cao. Also ask your second uncle. Cao Pi. Why don't you just pass on your seat directly to Uncle Er.Cao. Oh. This is what you said, I have exactly the intention. Cao Pi. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Brother Cao Mengde, new book seeking support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the first year of Xingping, Spring Yenzhou, Dongjun Cao was originally looking forward to it today. In the past year, he joined forces with Bao Xian to eliminate the yellow turban thieves in Xuzhou, recruited 300,000 soldiers from Xuzhou, and under his command, he also obtained advisors and generals such as Sun Yu, Guojia, Chengyu, Mao Jie, Eugene, and Dian Wei. He was also appointed as the general of Shandong by the imperial court, with a great momentum. But at this moment, as Cao looked at Cao De, his third brother who had rushed from Langya County, his expectations could only turn into bandits. Father, won't you come? Cao De, who was 6 feet tall and had a 3-point resemblance to Cao in appearance, nodded slowly. Yes, my second brother said that in recent years, there has been chaos in the military. If the whole family were to relocate, it would be difficult to avoid being missed by criminals on the way. Therefore, in order to ensure my father's safety, I will not come to Dongjun to seek refuge with my eldest brother for the time being. The name of Cao De's second brother is Cao Bin, who is Cao's second younger brother. This person did not have much fame in the starry Eastern Han Dynasty and there are not many records in history. However, for Cao, his own brothers were certainly familiar with him. Therefore, when Cao heard that it was Cao Bin's idea, he immediately became angry and did not attack anyone. This scoundrel has only known how to read books about corrupt scholars since childhood. After reading them back and forth, his brain has gone crazy. How could he become so timid? Speaking of this, Cao sighed again. Ah, this vertical pole has ruined my plan. Upon seeing this, Cao De's eyes widened. Big brother, you really want to seize Xuzhou? Cao was taken aback for a moment, but fortunately there was only Dian Wei beside him. He quickly brushed his sleeves and said. Nonsense, why did I take Xuzhou? Did you hear any rumors? Cao De curled his lips. Big brother, don't pretend now. If you don't want to seize Xuzhou, why are you in a hurry to let us come to Dongjun? Isn't it just that you're afraid of sending troops recklessly from your side? That old man Tao Qian will be caught dead in the net and send someone to Langya to kill us first. But second brother said, it's precisely because of this that we can't act rashly, especially since it's not convenient for you to take Xuzhou now, big brother. Cao's eyebrows furrowed as he listened, and after a moment of relief, he realized. Wait a minute, so it's that vertical guy who said I want to take Xuzhou. Strange, how did he know? Cao De's bright eyes said. Guess it, big brother. You've been busy outside these years and haven't come home. There are some things you're not sure about. Especially my second brother, since he suffered from a serious illness last year and recovered, he has undergone tremendous changes in his personality. He is extremely intelligent, able to predict everything accurately and accurately. Let's just say you want to take Xuzhou. At first, I didn't believe it at all, but now, I'm convinced from the bottom of my heart. Cao Cao's eyes flickered and he once again said in confusion. What does it mean that I am unable to retrieve Xuzhou at the moment? Cao Da's face darkened as he thought of Cao Bin's instructions before leaving. He quickly stepped forward and said. Big brother, Liu Bei's 3 surnames are domestic slaves, we must be on guard. Second brother said that he is highly likely to take Yenzhou from our family. Cao Cao immediately sneered. Oh, Huang Miao, Liu Bei is brave but not strategic. I have 300,000 soldiers under my command, is Yenzhou something he can take away? The seriousness on Cao Da's face remained unchanged. Ah, time has changed, and Liu Bei cannot be taken away now. But if you go to Xuzhou, Yenzhou will definitely be empty. At that time, the servants of the 3 surnames will definitely take advantage of the situation and enter. Although this servant has no ulterior motives, he has recently acquired a new military commander named Chen Gong, with outstanding strategy. It is said that he has known you for a long time, big brother. Cao Cao raised his eyebrows and was extremely surprised. Chen Gong. How could he become Liu Bei's strategist? No, then. Isn't Guanzhi, Cao Bin, always with you in Langya County? I don't even know these news in Yenzhou, where did he get it from? Cao Da shrugged his shoulders, his tone filled with admiration for his own brother, of course, not the one in front of him. Do we still need to inquire about this? Second brother can guess at any moment. Besides, Chen Gong, isn't it a bit out of sync with you, big brother? Otherwise, with big brother's love for talent, how could we not leave Chen Gong for our own use? Just because of the specific reason for the disagreement between you and him, my second brother never told me, saying that my father would get angry if he found out. Strangely, why would my father get angry? I can't think of anything to do with my father in the middle of this. Hey, big brother, since we're talking about this, please tell me the truth. Blush blushed and ignored Cao Da's curious eyes, but even so, his forehead was sweating. After all, I have to obey that vertical person now. Even Liu Bei's situation is clear. Damn it, who leaked it out? Chen Gong. Humph, if I had known so, I should have killed him together in the first place. However, at present, Cao Cao naturally shifted the topic as soon as possible. Ade, are you sure that all the news he brought you is true? Cao Da did not hesitate at all. I'm sure, although I can't confirm it, as I've said before, second brother's predictions are as accurate as before. Big brother, I think you shouldn't underestimate second brother in the future. You need to pay attention to the matter between Chen Gong and Liu Bei. At least send some people to investigate and investigate. Yenzhou has finally become the territory of our Cao family, and we cannot easily lose it. Cao Cao's face darkened, and he didn't expect to be educated by his younger brother one day. Unfortunately, he couldn't refute it and could only wave his hand and say. All right, I'll pay attention to what you're saying, but the problem is, you can't stay in Langya County all the time. Sooner or later, Xuzhou will become my possession. Cao Da curled his lips and said calmly. That's why second brother sent me here. If I were to remind big brother to be careful of Chen Gong and Liu Bei, a messenger would bring me a letter to repair the book. Cao Cao's eyes trembled slightly, and he dared to speak with emotion for so long, but before he got to the point. So why are you here? Cao Da arched his hand directly. I wanted soldiers, money, and food. It was supposed to be borrowing, but my second brother said that the family didn't speak the same language, so I didn't plan to repay it. Upon hearing this, Cao Cao didn't have time to feel angry about his second brother's shamelessness. He first curiously said. What are you doing with these? Cao Da smiled slightly. I took Xuzhou for you, big brother. Cao Cao couldn't believe it. Taking Xuzhou. With that vertical pole. Cao De confidently said. Yeah, big brother, aren't you unable to leave? Because you need to guard against LV Bu and Qinggong's surprise attack on Yenzhou. But in order for our Lao Chao family's career to become bigger and stronger, and to create more glory, Xuzhou cannot be ignored. Moreover, only second brother can represent you in taking Xuzhou. However, a clever woman cannot cook without rice. My second brother is clever, but Langye County has no soldiers, no money, and no food. I can only rely on you, my elder brother, to support me. Cao Cao's eyes rolled over, but he remained patient and said earnestly. Ade, do you want to hear what you're saying? Oh, you think war is just a child's play, and it's easy to take a city, right? Not to mention whether Guanzhi is as intelligent and divine as you said he is now, even if he is, does he understand the art of war? Can he lead the army? Let me put it this way, even if I give him enough military money and food, he will never be able to take Xuzhou. Not to mention Xuzhou, he has to work hard in a small city like Langye County. Cao De immediately remained non-committal. Hey, big brother, you don't know anything about it now. Langye County is already the territory of our Cao family. The governor of Langye County has long been the only one to follow, and the soldiers in the county are no different from our family's guards. Although there are not many, only a few 5,000 people and horses, the entire Langye County is only under the command of second brother. Cao Cao's face was taken aback. If he had just looked at Cao Bin with the same old eyes, then hearing this would have made him look up. After all, he can conquer a county with his own strength, and coupled with Cao Bin being only 17 years old now, it is true that a hero has become a teenager. Does the second younger brother who only knows how to read books about corrupt scholars in my impression really have an epiphany? Oh, really? Then this vertical guy finally looks like our Cao family. Ade, do you know how he did it? Cao De smiled confidently. To be honest, second brother conquered the entire Langye County with just one sentence. Cao Cao's whole body stiffened. Just one sentence. How could this be possible? What words? Cao De's face showed admiration. Brother Cao Mengde. Cao Cao was taken aback for a moment, blinking his eyes. After a moment, he finally realized what was happening. He turned around and glanced at the beloved general standing behind him, who had remained silent from beginning to end and stood straight. At that moment, there was only one sentence. Jian Wei, throw him out. Chapter 2. Family shame cannot be exposed, new book seeks support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upon hearing Cao Cao's words, Jian Wei, who had a burly appearance and a majestic figure, nodded and extended his big hand to Cao De, like carrying a small chicken, as if he was about to throw it into a parabolic shape. He happened to walk into the two of them from outside the main hall. And these two people were none other than the two of Cao Cao's 5 great strategists, Guanzhi and Sun Yu, who were puzzled by the situation. Master, who are you? The family's shame cannot be exposed, and Cao Cao can only signal Jian Wei to temporarily give up, then point to Cao De and say. This is my third brother Cao De. He just brought news that my father is not coming to Dongjun for now. Guanzhi and Sun Yu looked at each other and finally understood the reason for the parabola, but it was precisely because of this that they were even more puzzled. San Gongzi, the Lord is currently stationed in Yenzhou, supporting 300,000 soldiers. It is only then that he wants to bring the old crown prince to Dongjun to live a comfortable life and show filial piety. Why is the old crown prince unwilling to do such good deeds? Yes, third young master. Although Langye County is good, it cannot compare to the vast Yenzhou. I hope that after third young master returns, he can persuade the old Taigong more. The Lord has been busy outside these years and cannot go home to fulfill his filial piety. It is really chaotic in the world. There are yellow scarves in the beginning and dong thieves in the end. The Lord can only suppress the thieves for the country first, and he will not forget the old Tai Gong. In the eyes of Guosun and the others, the reason why Cao Song did not come to Dongjun must be to blame Cao Cao for not returning home these years and forgetting that there was still an elderly father like him at home. Therefore, he was angry with Cao Cao at this moment. As a vassal, he naturally wanted to make peace. Cao Cao also cooperated appropriately, bowing his head and sighing repeatedly to express his inner sorrow. In summary, at present, Cao Cao and others still insist on their own opinions and want Cao Song to come to Dongjun as soon as possible. Even if Cao Bin guesses correctly, Xuzhou currently has no time to take it, and there is no contradiction with Cao Song coming to Dongjun. Upon hearing these words and seeing the situation, Cao De, who was still being held by Dian Wei with one big hand, had no choice but to reveal the truth. Well, actually, father really doesn't have time to come now. Cao Cao frowned. No time. How could there be no time? Cao does blush. I have to be busy with marriage matters. Cao Cao was taken aback for a moment and immediately became furious. That bastard. I knew there was an inside story going on here. What kind of chaotic war and fear of being remembered by criminals on the way? It's all just Cao Guanzhi's vertical rhetoric. Dare to be in a hurry to get married and not come to Dongjun. Damn it, he's busy getting married. Why should he stop his father from coming to Dongjun? Wait, he'd better never come to Dongjun, otherwise, I, the big brother, will definitely beat him half to death. Guojia and Sunyu on the side also shook their heads repeatedly, thinking to themselves that the Lord was talented and strategic. How could he have such a second brother? But at this moment, Cao De said. Well, actually, it's my father who wants to get married. Cao Cao. Guojia. Sunyu. Father. Father wants to get married. Cao Cao's face was flushed with insects and scolded him early. Well, don't we already have 5 aunts? Cao De smiled bitterly. My second brother said it was best to come up with a lucky number, but my father reluctantly agreed. Cao Cao directly covered his face, while Guojia and Sunyu on the side also looked up at the blue sky with great vision. Only Dian Wei was not aware of the awkward atmosphere at the moment. Fortunately, at this moment, Cao Cao, who was covering his face, gave him a glance, and then Cao De in his hand flew out of the main hall in a parabolic trajectory, accompanied by the sound of landing and screaming in agony. Cao Cao also adjusted his mentality as soon as possible and pretended to be relaxed with a smile, saying, Oh, my father is such a kind-hearted person, but since that's the case, he doesn't have time to come to Dongjun at the moment. Moreover, I just received news that LV Buxin has obtained a military division named Qingong, who has some connections with me and is quite cunning. In that case, if I were to deploy troops in Xuzhou, Qingong would likely suggest that LV Bu take advantage of the situation and enter Yenzhou. Guojia and Sunyu showed surprise on their faces. They had not heard of this news yet. Where did the Lord get it from? Sai, is there another intelligence agency in the Lord's hands? Lord, is this matter entirely true? Cao Cao waved his hand. It has not been confirmed repeatedly by anyone yet, but it should be true. Of course, I am not afraid of LV Bu and Qingong, and the trouble is still in Xuzhou. If my father doesn't come to Dongjun, I will never dare to take Xuzhou. Over the years, I have been busy outside and have not been filial to my father. If I take Xuzhou and force the old thief Tao Qian to do harm to my father, how will I have the face to live a miserable life? So, for now, we can only hold our ground and observe for a while. Sunyu nodded slightly. It is common for the Lord to have such concerns, and he rashly took Xuzhou. Our teachers are unknown, and Tao Qian is known for his kindness. If he directly wields his army, he will surely be condemned by the people of the world. Upon hearing these words, Cao Cao finally felt a little better in his heart, but when he saw Guojia beside Sunyu, his eyes lit up. Filial piety remained silent for a long time, but is there a good strategy for the belly? Guanzhi smiled slightly and arched his hand to approach. The one who knows me, my lord. Yangzhou has been occupied, Xuzhou will be taken. Whether it's the condemnation of the world or the surprise attack of Lv and Shandong, if my lord wants to achieve great things, the two states of Yangzhou and Xuzhou must be connected. Only in this way can my lord resist Yuan Shao. However, the old lady is in Langya and should not act rashly. Therefore, I believe that the lord can take advantage of the old lady's marriage and send someone to Langya under the guise of sending a gift. After the marriage is over, I will escort the old lady to Dongjun. In addition, you can also take the opportunity to inquire about Xuzhou. If you can use this as a reason to cause trouble and give the lord a reason to send troops to Xuzhou, then when the old crown prince comes to Dongjun, it will be the day when the lord sends troops to Xuzhou. Guanzhi's words were very vague, but everyone present, except Jian Wei, were all intelligent people, especially Cao Cao. Looking at Cao De, who was still wailing and screaming outside the main hall, he couldn't hide his smile on his face. Do you need soldiers, money, or food? All right, I'll give it to you. It's just my military money and food, not something you can use, second brother. Humph, when you arrive in Dongjun, see how I deal with you. Jian Wei, go call Xiahou done. Yes. Chapter 3. Heaven will not give birth to me, Chao Guanzhi, one of the Eastern Han Dynasty. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xuzhou, Langya County. The 17-year-old boy, dressed in splendid attire and with a beautiful appearance, sat in the main hall of the county mansion, looking at the newly written Shi character on the desk, and satisfactorily put down his pen. Take a look, how is it written? Sun Cheng, the governor of Langya County, who was kneeling in the hall, didn't even look and raised his thumb. This character is majestic and natural, indicating that the young master's calligraphy skills have reached the realm of everyone. The official's admiration for you was originally like a flowing river, continuous, and now, it is even more surging. Haha. The young man laughed heartily, and he was Cao Bin. Brother Sun is too praised. Actually, you don't need to compliment me like this. Guanzhi is just a young man. Although he has an older brother named Meng who guards Yangzhou and supports hundreds of thousands of soldiers. He has a bad temper and likes to kill his whole family easily. His younger sister is about to marry my father. When the marriage is completed, according to seniority, I will also call you uncle. Sun Cheng struggled to swallow a mouthful of saliva, and I have been quite honest lately. Hee, young master, you're serious. If my younger sister can catch the eye of the old lady, it's her blessing, enough to make our family shine and honor our ancestors. As for the matter of seniority, young master, you don't need to worry about it. Since the marriage was arranged, I have never considered myself as the young master's uncle. Cao Bin nodded with satisfaction. Well, as long as brother Sun understands, I'm very easygoing. Having multiple aunts is not a big deal. Are you still afraid of having multiple uncles? Helpless brother, break the bones and tendons. If I call you uncle, wouldn't my big brother also want to be like me? So it's better to talk about the situation. By the way, when it comes to the matter of sending invitations, how has it been handled? Sun Cheng's face turned pale, but he could only grit his head and arch his hand, saying, it's almost there. It's on the side of Yuan Shao and Gongsun Zan, who are currently at war. Isn't it not good to send invitations at this time? Cao Bin curled his lips. As they all said, when it comes to people, they don't have time to drink my father's wedding wine during the war. They can always send someone to bring the gift. Sun Cheng had a bitter smile on his face. How do I think they would send troops to beat us up when they receive the invitation? However, Sun Cheng naturally dared not disobey Cao Bin, with only one thing unclear. Since that's the case, why doesn't the young master invite Lord Tao? Our Langya belongs to Xuzhou, and everyone has sent invitations, but we don't invite Lord Tao. Isn't it a bit negligent? Cao Bin's eyes flickered and he waved his hand directly. I don't need you to worry anymore, let's go down. Sun Qing was taken aback for a moment, unsure of what he had said wrong. He didn't dare to stay any longer and quickly arched his hand and left. As soon as Sun Qing left, a person came in from the side hall. This person was 8 feet tall, slender in stature, wearing a red armor, carrying a black spear on his shoulder, and full of banditry. I think this person is quite honest and shouldn't have any ill intentions. Cao Bin picked up the character, Shi on the table and handed it to the person. The heart of guarding against others is indispensable. Sun Qingqing is the governor of this place, but now he listens to my orders. If it were you, how could he be willing in his heart? The person with a face full of banditry originally intended to take the word, Shi. Upon hearing this, he immediately withdrew his big hand and rolled his eyes, saying, You're here again. Yes, I've rebelled before, but I've already listened to General Yu's words and turned the tide. General Yu didn't even say anything about me, so why are you still going on endlessly? Cao Bin immediately laughed heartily, which could be considered his bad taste. But without teasing this person, who else could he be honest with? Not bad, Cao Bin doesn't belong here. He is a traveler who only remembers playing games all night in an internet cafe, and then with 2 eyes wide open, he arrived at the chaotic end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. And when Cao Bin found out his identity as the second brother of the world-renowned hero Cao Cao, like most of the travelers, yes, his system was activated. Immediately after, Cao Bin was given 2 choices. One was to go to Dongjun to join Cao Cao and reward him with a life expectancy of 100 years. The second is to stay in Langya and seek to capture Xuzhou, rewarding the 800 Beiwei army. To be honest, when he saw these 2 choices, Cao Bin shamefully hesitated for a moment. After all, as the second younger brother of Cao Cao, he can eat, drink, and play for a lifetime, and with a lifespan of 100 years, it's really good to play from youth to death. However, after only staying for 1 day in the Eastern Han Dynasty, Cao Bin firmly chose the second option. There is no other reason, in an era without mobile phones and computers, what is there to play with Cao Bin, who is already suffering from electronic cancer? Even if you can play with women, the 100-year lifespan given by the system is only lifespan, not including that aspect of ability. It's afraid that playing with the kidneys for a few years will result in reimbursement. So, why hesitate? Heaven doesn't give birth to me, Cao Guanzhi. The Eastern Han Dynasty is like a long night, and it's all done. However, what Cao Bin did not expect was that among the 800 soldiers rewarded by the system, there was also a surprise. It was at this moment, this person with a face full of banditry and carrying a long spear. Young Zaixing, the first fierce general of the Southern Song Dynasty, although there are not many people worth this guy's attack yet, according to the 800 Bactwei army, Young Zaixing can pick out hundreds of them with a gun alone, which is still modest. Moreover, with Yang Zaixing's strength, during this brilliant Eastern Han Dynasty, except for Lv Bu and Zhao Yun, who were hard to say, the rest of them could still win steadily. So with an army of 800 Beiwei in hand and Yang Zaixing's help, as long as he is well prepared, Cao Bin can now seize Xuzhou. But these people are the only family members of Cao Bin at present. Even if we don't talk about military strength, and only about loyalty, Cao Bin couldn't bear to let them compromise when taking Xuzhou. So, the cheap brother didn't need to be used for nothing. After all, obtaining Xuzhou was also under the name of the Cao family. Cao Bin then asked Cao De to go to Dongjun to ask Cao Cao for some cannon fodder. As for Cao Song's marriage, it was just a smoke bomb. Cao Bin sent invitations to the world's wealthy people to let everyone know that he was helping his father marry his aunt, so that he could unexpectedly send troops to Xuzhou. Counting the days, Ade should also be in Dongjun by now. When things get better, how can the defenders of Langya be used? Cao Bin stood up from the main seat and looked at Yang Zaixing. Yang Zaixing's face showed disdain. A group of elderly, weak, sick, and disabled soldiers, who have been defeated by just training during this period, have really gone to the battlefield. If they don't flee, it's not bad. Cao Bin curled his lips. It's not that bad, right? I've told you everything. Don't demand them with the requirements of the backway army. We're still in the early stages and don't have much financial resources. If we can use one, it's one. Young Zaixing holds a gun and looks sideways. Didn't your third brother ask your elder brother for a soldier? What's wrong? Do you think he won't give it? Cao Bin stood with his hand on his back. Of course I will, but not to let me take Xuzhou, but to escort my father to Dongjun. After all, these people will not obey my orders. Young Zaixing's eyes narrowed slightly. So, if you don't agree then, those people will still use force. Cao Bin touched his chin. Others naturally dare not, but he may not be right. If I guess correctly, my cheap brother will definitely send Xiahou Dun over. Young Zaixing raised his eyebrows. Xiahou Dun. That's the one who pulled out the arrow to feast on his eyes. Cao Bin nodded. Well, but it shouldn't be a one-eyed dragon yet, but Xiahou and Cao Ben are from the same family. In terms of seniority, I have to call him big cousin. In this way, Xiahou Dun won't get used to me. Although I am his lord's brother, so is this guy. Young Zaixing immediately shrugged. Isn't this all over? Are you still planning to let me fight your big cousin? Of course, I don't care, but my gun is easy to stab, but it's difficult to come back. Cao Bin laughed and waved his hand. Haha. How could our family start fighting before we even get Xuzhou? Actually, what I want is Xiahou Dun to come over. Young Zaixing was taken aback. How do you say that? Cao Bin hugged his arm and said. Those who achieve success in this place will be destroyed in this place. If Cao Cao were to change people, such as Eugene coming to Langia, he wouldn't dare to provoke me. However, Eugene is a stable person, and even if I say, break my lip, he wouldn't dare to join forces with me to take Xuzhou. But Xiahou Dun is different. My big cousin is as passionate as fire, and his mind is still a bit dull. As long as he is a little swayed, he will definitely cooperate with me. At that time, Xuzhou will surely become my bag. Chapter 4. The Way to Wealth, New Book Seeks Support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at Cao Bin like this, Young Zaixing couldn't seem to stir any waves in his heart. In fact, he and the 800 backed soldiers still couldn't understand what was going on. Why did they come from the southern Song dynasty to the Eastern Han Dynasty? Why listen to the command of this stinky little brat in front of me? What they want and are willing to follow is only one Liu Bei from beginning to end. Cao Bin was absolutely right in saying that if we don't change history, General Yu will definitely die at the hands of Qin Hui. The only thing they can do is to support Wei and eliminate Han, and the Jin dynasty will no longer exist. Only in this way will the wheels of history turn again. Even though Liu Bei may not appear in this world for hundreds of years, General Yu may still encounter a foolish ruler who died at the hands of treacherous officials. However, it is also possible that without Shi Jingtang and the Song dynasty, the 16 states of Yan and Yun would no longer be easily contested, and the shame of Jingkong would never occur. Liu Bei may no longer be the forever recorded Liu Bei, but instead of making himself famous in history, General Yu would definitely prefer to see the prosperity of Chinese martial arts. So what else is there to hesitate about? Even for PUA, they had to do their best to help Cao Bin depict that blue picture. As a result, young Zaixing's heart finally rippled, and his eyes were filled with a strong desire for war. So, the day Xiahou Dun arrived at Langia was when we captured Xuzhou. Humph, I finally have some hope. This month has left me idle and I'm probably unfamiliar with marksmanship. Cao Bin raised his eyebrows. Don't you practice your Yang family gun every morning? Young Zaixing curled his lips. There's no blood on the tip of the gun, no matter how you practice, it's useless. Cao Bin is speechless, this violent maniac. I originally wanted to learn a few moves to play with the Yang family gun, but now let's just take a look. I'm really the Lord, and if I learn to be included in the combat organization, I'll get rid of it. Thinking this way, a familiar shout suddenly came from outside the hall. Ah Bin. Cao Bin's face turned black, but he could only smile and quickly walked out of the main hall, because the owner of the shouting was his cheap old father. Cao Song. Dad, as I've said before, just call me Guanzhi. The title Bin sounds a bit awkward to me. Cao Song leaned on a cane and walked slowly with the help of Sun Cheng's sister, the concubine he was about to marry. I don't know what the two of them just did, but Cao Song's face was flushed now. When he heard his second son's words, he burst into laughter. Haha. You're actually quite shy, kid. It's just that you've grown up and now you're the leader of this world. It's a bit inappropriate to call you by your nickname. Cao Bin glanced at Sun Cheng's sister, a 150-pound noblewoman, and thought to himself that Cao Song was also really hungry, but on the surface, he was obedient and polite. Dad, you're already old. If you need anything, just send someone over to pass it on to me. Why are you still coming to this county government? Cao Bin walked into the main hall, waved his hand to signal his new wife to leave first, and then grabbed Cao Bin's sign language center and said. Ah. Guanzhi, as a father, I was just thinking about it at home. Sure enough, it's not appropriate. Although I used to be the Grand Commandant of the Han Dynasty and getting married shouldn't be too shabby, now that the world is in such chaos, it's really not appropriate to make a fuss about it. If you ask me, let's just have a simple meal and have a lively atmosphere. There's no need to invite this or that. Just now, Sun Qing said, you even sent invitations to Ben Chu and Gong Xuanzan. Sai, Guanzhi, when they went to war, I got married and even sent someone from all over to tell them, isn't this just a blatant act? Cao Bin's eyes flickered, and Sun Cheng, who was such a dog day, dared to hit my little report. However, for now, he must first appease Cao Song. Hey, Dad, that's not right. As the saying goes, the most beautiful thing is the red sunset. At your age, you can still get married. If your son doesn't do a big job for you and invite the world's wealthy, not to mention me, my elder brother will also disagree. Cao Song was taken aback for a moment, unsure, so. What does this have to do with Meng? Cao Bin smiled confidently. Hee, of course it's related, Dad. Big Brother now dominates Yangzhou, supporting hundreds of thousands of soldiers. He has just been appointed as the General of Shandong by the imperial court. Not to mention the whole of Shandong, even the whole country, is also eyeing him, and no one dares to underestimate our Cao family anymore. In that case, your marriage should be as grand as possible, otherwise you will be laughed at by others and your big brother's face will not shine. Upon hearing these words, Cao Song's old face turned red for some unknown reason inside, saying. Alas, in summary, I know that you, as a filial child, have done everything to make your father happy. But you have spent too much money on it. Cao Bin rolled his eyes uncontrollably and said, wow, after all this time, the old man dares to love money. Dad, isn't this money just for spending? Besides, how much wealth do we have in our family? Others don't know, can I still not know? Cao Song felt a sense of sadness in his heart. He said that it would be easy for me to earn some money as a Grand Commandant for so many years, but when he thought about spending all the money on him, he felt embarrassed to accuse Cao Bin and could only reveal it in a low voice. Well, Guanzhi, my father just calculated at home that if we continue to handle things like you do, by the time the marriage is over, our family may only have 20,000 guanqian to use. Cao Bin's face was taken aback. 20,000 guan. How could it be so little? During the Eastern Han Dynasty, the consistent currency was 1,000 copper coins. Today, the consistent currency is approximately 5,000 yuan, so 20,000 guan is 10 million yuan. To be honest, it is indeed rare. If we live our lives with this 10 million, it will naturally be more than enough. But if Cao Bin wants to achieve his hegemony, he must conquer cities and seize territories. As is well known, war is extremely costly, and even if he can capture Xuzhou in the future, the more money he has, the better. Ah, why is it so unprofitable? Didn't our family have tens of thousands of dollars before? In just 1 month, we've spent more than half of it. Dad, have you figured it out? Did you get old and make a mistake in reading the ledger? Upon hearing this, Cao Song wished he could swing his cane to give this thug a beating. However, before the old man could take action, Yang Zaixing lazily said. How could old Tai Gong have misread the account book? You don't even think about how much money it cost just to have 5,000 guards like Langya. Their weapons are outdated, their armor is tattered, and just making new ones is a lot of silver. No, a lot of copper coins. In addition, every day you eat and drink, you also have meat and soup in your meals. Over the past month, I have been training soldiers to death, but they have actually gained weight. Cao Bin's heart immediately dripped with blood, numb, pretending to be too forced. It's also strange that I used to be a poor person when I traveled through time. Now that my family has money, I want to be extravagant, but I can't imagine. No, come on, since you already knew all this, why didn't you remind me? Yang Zaixing was taken aback for a moment, then turned his head unnaturally. I also want to eat something good, don't I? Cao Bin was speechless to the extreme, but looking at Cao Song in front of him, he could only slap his swollen face and pretend to be fat, saying. It's okay, Dad. Regarding the money issue, my son will come up with a solution. You go home first, don't worry, your family will never be ruined by my son. Upon seeing this, Cao Song could only nod and turn around to leave. To be honest, looking at his father's elderly back, Cao Bin couldn't bear it anymore, and as a result, his eyes filled with resentment immediately turned to Yang Zaixing. Yang Zaixing knew he was guilty and quickly said. In the future, I will make them eat less. Cao Bin's face remained expressionless. Man is iron, rice is steel. How can we fight if we don't have enough to eat? Besides, soldiers have sacrificed their lives for me, and I won't even give them a full meal. Am I still human? The top priority is to find a way to make some money and then revive it, which requires you. Yang Zaixing is not ambiguous, after all, who doesn't want a life with meat and soup in every meal? If you work hard again, maybe you can still make a bowl of wine before going to bed, so your face shows perseverance. No problem, just give me your orders and I'll do it. Cao Bin turned his head and looked around first, then pulled in the distance from Yang Zaixing and whispered. According to historical records, you used to work as a bandit. Yang Zaixing's eyes widened, and this dog coin. What do you mean? I'm warning you, I won't do those robberies and robberies. I'm already doing well. Cao Bin curled his lips. Look at what you're saying, am I the kind of lord who makes you rob and rob? But robbing the rich to help the poor is still possible. Not to mention anything else, don't let any of those officials go unnoticed. Look at my father, he's a great example. How much money did he earn during his years as a Grand Commandant? It's just a matter of people's wealth. In that case, it's a time of great chaos in the world, no plunder, no plunder. Moreover, at the moment, Xiahou Dun hasn't come yet, and it's not time to take Xuzhou. You're also idle. In this way, the 800 Beiwei army will leave 100 to protect my safety. The remaining 700 soldiers will be divided into 7 routes. First, we will sweep the wealthy people nearby. If you have time, you can lead them to Chang'an for a tour. Yang Zaixing's face was gloomy. I won't go even if I die. I swore to General Yu that in this life, I will be a bandit and the heavens and earth will perish. Upon hearing this, Cao Bin did not insist. That's it, you're responsible for imparting skills and letting them practice. With you protecting my safety, let's all scatter the 800-strong army. Is that enough? Young Zaixing furrowed his brow upon hearing this. Of course, he didn't want to nod, but on the other hand, having no money was not enough. Therefore, after much thought, the most powerful general of the Southern Song dynasty could only lower his head. Ah, I'm sorry General Yu. Chapter 5. This is the pattern. New book seeking support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the first year of Xingping, February, the fact that Cao Song, the father of General Cao Cao in Jian'an, former Han Dynasty Grand Commandant, got married is well known throughout the world. Various wealthy groups sent people to Langya to congratulate and give gifts. Among them, the 18 feudal lords who had formed an alliance with Cao Cao to fight against the Dong bandits, except for Tao Qian who had already passed away. Only Tao Qian, who had not received an invitation, did not express anything. Others, including Sun Su, whose late father Sun Jian had already passed away in Jiangdong, gave a generous gift. In addition, Liu Bei from Jingzhou, Zhang Lu from Hanzhong, Liu Yan from Yizhou, including Li Gui and Guanzhi from Chang'an, all sent people to congratulate them. Therefore, Langya County at this time can be said to be a gathering place of various forces and bustling. But the Langya commandery was eerily quiet, and the wrinkles on Cao Song's face were almost squeezed together. After confirming the congratulatory gifts sent by all parties, he even stood up. Humph. This Tao Gongzu is bullying people too much. Cao Bin's eyes flickered, and he quickly stepped forward to stroke Cao Song's back, as if to comfort him. However, as soon as he spoke, Cao Song's anger became even stronger. Father, calm down. Although Tao Qian is detestable, you have a lot, so there's no need to have the same understanding as him. But this old thief, who is so close to Langya in Xuzhou, has not sent anyone to congratulate him yet. He really didn't take you seriously, father. Not to mention the others, Yizhou is thousands of miles away from here, and Liu Yan has sent people here. Moreover, according to the envoy from Yizhou, Liu Yan's back has been infected and his life is on the brink of death. That's all they have sent people to Langya to congratulate him, which shows his father's good social connections and reputation. Helpless, I eventually returned to tea and became a cool person. I am no longer an official in the court. Otherwise, Tao Qian's gift would have been the first to arrive in Langya. Upon hearing these words, Cao Song trembled with anger all over his body. If it weren't for daily health care, it would have been easy for him to pass this moment. Damn Tao Gongzu, I will keep this account for him. After the marriage is over, I will study a book for Ah Meng and ask him to lead the army to seize the old thief's Xuzhou. At that time, I want to see if this old thief dares to underestimate me. Cao Bin smiled slightly. Hee, father doesn't need to be so troublesome. Didn't Ade go to Dongjun to find his elder brother? Counting the days, he should also come back. According to Chen, the elder brother sent Xiahou Dun to congratulate your father. At that time, the father only needed to complain in front of the elder cousin. With the elder cousin's temper and skills, he could lead troops to Xuzhou to start a military expedition and ask for punishment without the elder brother's intervention. Cao Song nodded slightly. Well, that's good. I heard Yenzhou hasn't been peaceful lately, and LV Bu wants to take advantage of the situation. Ah Meng needs to be on guard against these 3 surnamed slaves, as he may not have time to vent his anger on me. Speaking of which, Cao Song looked at Cao Bin in front of him, his tone extremely distressed. Ah, Guanzhi, over the years, I have wronged you. Actually, my father knows that your abilities are no less than your elder brother's. He just doesn't trust me, so he stayed with me in Langya. Especially during this period, on the one hand, I am handling my wedding affairs, on the other hand, I am managing the affairs of Langya County, and I also need to find ways to make money. How can I get away with one difficult word? But as a father, I didn't expect that you could really finish all these things alone. To be honest, when I heard you say there was a way to make money that day, as a father, I thought you were comforting me. But in just half a month, you have accumulated a lot of wealth for our family, more than the salary I have saved as a Grand Commandant for so many years. Therefore, with a son like you, Cao Cao will have no regrets in this life. Cao Bin immediately said that this was all I should do, while lightly stepping on Cao. Who makes me the second son? Cao Song quickly patted Cao Bin's shoulder. No, in my father's heart, you are much stronger than your eldest son. Upon hearing this, Cao Bin wanted to be humble, but when young Zaixing walked into the main hall, the tone of his words immediately changed. Okay Dad, why is the family saying these things? Well, you go back first. I have some things to discuss with you again. Cao Song nodded wisely and turned around to leave. As soon as Cao Song left, young Zaixing's face sank with a swoop. Don't let me handle all the trivial matters in the future, okay? Cao Bin curled his lips. I really want you to rob the rich and help the poor, but you should go. How's it going? Are those two okay? Young Zaixing shook his head. It's okay, we just got a few punches and kicks from each other, we can't die. Cao Bin's eyes narrowed slightly. Sun Cheng is such a useless person. Fortunately, he served as the prefect of Langya for several years. Why can't he handle such a small matter well? Gong Sunzan and Yuan Shao are at war, and their envoys can still be arranged to stay at the same post office. If they meet on a narrow road, can they not fight? Alas, you said they sent people with good intentions to congratulate you, but when they turned around, the two envoys went back with bruises and swollen faces. As a landlord, my friendship was not in place. Young Zaixing sat at his desk. Alright, let's talk about the main matter first. Wang Gang and his team have not returned yet. Do we need to send someone out to search for them? Wang Gang, the cavalry commander of the Beiwei army, was only below Yang Zaixing in terms of military strength. Recently, he was ordered by Cao Bin to lead 100 people to Chang'an to rob the rich and help the poor. Because the current Chang'an has been plagued by the chaos caused by the two bandits Li and Guanzhi, the wealthy and many officials in the city are afraid of provoking these two people and have fled one after another. At this time, they are naturally the best candidates to be caught in the autumn breeze. However, half a month has passed and there has been no news from Wang Gang's group of people, which really worries Cao Bin and Yang Zaixing. As mentioned earlier, these people were so heartbroken that even Cao Bin felt heartbroken. At this moment, he naturally didn't dare to delay any longer, but just then, Cao Song went back and forth. Guanzhi, Guanzhi. Cao Bin's face was taken aback and he quickly walked out of the main hall. Dad, didn't you leave? Cao Song pointed excitedly at the outside of the mansion. How can I still leave? Go out and take a look, there are so many valuable things. Cao Bin and Yang Zaixing looked at each other and were immediately overjoyed. As expected, accompanied by several sounds of stalling, a strong and sturdy man rushed into the county mansion, and it was Wang Gang who had not received any news for a long time. Master, I'm back. Cao Bin ran quickly towards Wang Gang. It's good to come back, it's good to come back. Are you okay? Is anyone injured? Come on, hurry up, find a doctor. Wang Gang's heart warmed and he knelt down to bow. Thank you very much for your concern, my lord. I was fortunate enough to have lived up to my duty and returned with a full load of goods, and no one was injured. Please come with me to take a look. On this trip to Chang'an, my lord and others intercepted. Hey! Before Wang Gang could finish speaking, Cao Bin's face turned pale and he quickly waved his hand. After all, Cao Song was on the side. As a father, who would want their son to rob a house? But now it's too late to wave his hand, and Cao Bin can only turn around and bow to Cao Song, saying, Father, calm down, I have no choice but to. Cao Song didn't even wait for Cao Bin to finish speaking before he waved his hand. It's okay, just get the money. Xiao Bin's eyes widened. My goodness, this is really the pattern. What else is there to say? Don't be proud, keep working hard. Let's go, Dad, let's go out and take a look. Xiao Bin helped Qiao Song out of the county mansion happily. Young Zaixing hugged Wang Gang and then hooked his shoulders and followed closely behind. And it has to be said that there are still many wealthy people in Chang'an. No wonder Qiao Song's situation was wide open. Outside the county, there were 20 boxes of wealth and goods that were not included. Wang Gang and the 100 armed soldiers each immediately hung a large cloth bag, clanging and clanging, all of which were consistent copper coins. Seeing that Qiao Song was almost rejuvenated for the second spring, I had known that such an old man was not a grand commandant. Xiao Bin also looked at Wang Gang with great satisfaction, and Yang Zaixing was also with Yu Rongyan. After all, Wang Gang and others were also half of his students. But at this moment, Wang Gang once again arched his hand and said, "By the way, my lord, on this trip to Chang'an, there is also a woman who..." "Women." Yang Zaixing suddenly felt heartbroken. "Wang Gang, how could you do this? We are the Beiwei army. Didn't we tell you that we can't oppress the people? You're so bad, you forcibly robbed the women of the people." "Sigh, I'm sorry General Yu." Xiao Bin's face was also very unpleasant. "That's right, Wang Gang. You have disappointed me too much, my lord. I asked you to rob the rich and help the poor, which is a righteous act on behalf of heaven. How could you do such a thing? Even if it's for me, Qiao Guanzhi doesn't like this." "Sigh, is that woman beautiful?" Wang Gang did not hesitate. Pretty Xiao Bin reluctantly struggled. "Let me take a look." Upon seeing this, Yang Zaixing became increasingly heartbroken and distressed. "Wang Gang, do you deserve General Yu?" Wang Gang just had time to explain. "General Yang, you misunderstood. This woman was not snatched by us, but saved by us." Xiao Bin, who was about to look at the woman, paused in his footsteps. "Did you save it?" Wang Gang nodded. "Yes, my lord. After robbing the rich and helping the poor outside Chang'an City, we had hoped to return as soon as possible. However, when we encountered a group of Xiongnu who were plundering the people, we had a fight with them. I didn't expect those Xiongnu people to be tough-looking but not very skilled. If they couldn't beat us, they would run away. The copper coins and that woman in these bags were left behind by them when they ran away, and we brought them back easily. However, we didn't touch this woman, and I can swear to General Yu's spirit in heaven." Yang Zaixing finally breathed a sigh of relief. "Oh, I see. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Where's that woman?" Wang Gang pointed to a battle lane behind him. "On top, she had a head injury and is still unconscious." Xiao Bin quickly stepped forward to check, not to mention that he was indeed beautiful. Although he had a small muddy face, upon closer inspection, he found everything he should have. Yang Zaixing, on the other hand, stared coldly at Xiao Bin. If nothing unexpected happened, this beautiful woman would not escape her clutches. Then he saw Qiao Song also come to the side of the chariot, staring at the woman. His eyes gradually widened and he was speechless. Why is this Qiao family like this? Old Tai Gong, although I shouldn't have said this as a junior, your sixth aunt hasn't married yet. Qiao Song didn't even hear Yang Zaixing's words and continued to gaze at the woman on the chariot, afraid to speak up for a long time. This is Yen'er. Xiao Bin raised his eyebrows. Dad, do you know this girl? Qiao Song nodded without hesitation. Of course I know her. She is Kai Yong's daughter. You and Meng both met her in Chang'an when we were young, but you were still young at that time and I'm afraid you may not remember her now. Xiao Bin's face was taken aback. Kai Yong's daughter. Yen'er. Kai Yen. See, so she's Kai Wenji. With a ding sound, Cao Bin was startled when electronic and mechanical sounds suddenly came to his mind. Detected host facing selection, system turned on, option 1. Give Kai Wenji to Cao Cao and reward him with 200,000 Guan copper coins, option 2. Keep Kai Wenji and add 10 points to the host's personal charm, note. The higher the charm value, the greater the probability of the host recruiting talents. Chapter 6. Xiahou General's Great Official Power. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Listening to the sound of electronic machinery ringing in his mind, Cao Bin immediately took a deep breath of air conditioning. It's so close. If Kai Wenji had come before this, then choosing Cao Bin would have been difficult. After all, Cao Bin was extremely short of money at that time. But now, there is no doubt that although money is good, talent is even rarer. For example, during this period, Cao Bin had people search for famous scholars everywhere, but those scholars didn't even look up to him. Besides, if he really wanted to serve the Cao family, he would definitely go to Dongjun to seek refuge with Cao Cao. However, after defeating Xuzhou, the situation should change slightly, and at that time, the role of charm will be reflected. Liu Bei is a great example. Despite being poor and destitute, he can make people follow him wholeheartedly. Why? High personal charm. I choose 2. Cao Bin silently recited in his heart. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for making a wise choice. Your charm value has increased by 10. After hearing this sentence, the system disappeared into Cao Bin's mind and was replaced by a transparent light wall, which not only marked Cao Bin's name but also had 10 points of charm value. Cao Bin looked at the light wall that only he could see, turned his head to look around him, but did not feel any significant changes before realizing something was wrong. Wait a minute, why is there only 10 points of charm? I'm lying down, dare you, my original charm was 0. For a moment, I felt a little overwhelmed inside. I should be pretty good looking. Just as Cao Bin was feeling depressed, young Zaixing beside him heard Cao Song's words and his eyes immediately lit up. Oh, since that's the case, then we should send someone to take this Miss Kai home as soon as possible, so as not to worry her father Kai Yong. The old lady can also have a favorable situation, isn't it a win-win situation? Upon hearing this, Cao Song frowned. I haven't been in contact for many years. Where is Kai Yong now? I don't know. Cao Bin, who had already made a choice, nodded. That's right. With the chaos of war and chaos, sending such a beautiful girl anywhere would be like putting sheep in a tiger's mouth. In addition, she has also been injured in the head. It's better to stay and treat the injury first, and I'll take care of it on my behalf. We'll talk about it when we're better. Young Zaixing said directly. Are you sure she didn't stay behind like a sheep entering a tiger? Did I have some gimmicks? How do you feel that you look a little better than before? Cao Bin's heart was filled with joy, and his charm was not in vain. However, on the surface, he put on a calm and carefree demeanor. Thank you, I don't do any basic work. As for Miss Kai, that's the decision. Wang Gang, hurry up and take her to the county government, then find a doctor to show her head. Wang Gang nodded quickly. Yes. As soon as he finished speaking and boarded the chariot, he was taken aback and turned around, patting his forehead. Oh my, look at my brain. I almost forgot something important. Cao Bin's eyes lit up. Oh, did you save another woman? Are you pretty? Wang Gang. There are no more women, my lord. What I want to say is that when we returned, we found a large group of people rushing towards Langya. We originally wanted to rob the rich and help the poor again, but we saw this group of people carrying the banner of the Cao family. Cao Bin's face was taken aback, and he was immediately overjoyed. Oh, why did you say such an important thing now? Since it's under the banner of our Cao family, it must be Ade and Xiahou Dun who have come. Come on, come with me out of the city to welcome my cousin. Dad, you also keep up. Remember, when you see your big cousin, you must express your anger well and strive to reach a state of tears streaming down your face. Cao Song's face turned pale. Tears streaming down my face. Well, in fact, when my father saw so much money, he wasn't angry anymore. As for Tao Qian not coming to give me a gift, why don't we? Cao Bin shook his head firmly. No way. Dad, we can't let go of Tao Qian's old thief like this. Think about it, he doesn't look down on you alone. Big brother, me, Ade, and my 6 aunts, including my deceased grandfather, Tao Gongzu, was all taken lightly. Dad, this is our family's deep-seated blood feud. Cao Song couldn't help but laugh and cry when he heard this. He just didn't come to congratulate me, wouldn't blood and sea feuds be enough? Dad, if we don't do this, how can Tao Qian save his wealth and avoid disasters? Someone, help me get on the horse. Langya County, outside the city. When Cao Bin, young Zaixing, and Cao Song arrived, as Wang Gang had said, a large army of about 3,000 elite soldiers were marching towards Langya County with the Cao banner. The leader was of medium height, with a slightly fierce appearance, bearded under the chin, dressed in gray armor, and riding a brown war horse. He was the first general under Cao Cao, Xiahou done. However, Cao Bin and others were far away, so they didn't see the expression on Xiahou Dun's face. It was truly unattainable. If it weren't for Cao Cao's words, Xiahou Dun wouldn't have bothered to make this trip. In his opinion, escorting Cao Song to Dongjun could have been done by sending someone else. There's no need to make yourself stand up, do I want face. Plus, along the way, Cao Da's mouth never stopped except when he slept at night. He kept talking about how his second brother was so good, he was well prepared and extremely intelligent. When he arrived in Langya, he would surely admire him and wish he had come to Dongjun early to meet Cao Bin. So in such a situation, with Xiahou Dun's violent temper, how can he suppress it? If it weren't for the fact that Xiahou and Cao Ben were one family, he would have already swung his sword and beheaded Cao Da on horseback. Because of this, although Xiahou Dun tolerated Cao Da, he had already accumulated a lot of anger towards Cao Bin. I guess so. If it weren't for Cao Bin's obstruction, Cao Song would have arrived in Dongjun long ago, and there was no need for him to come alone to pick him up. He had planned to go to Langya and calculate the total account with Cao Bin first. And the sword was afraid of facing its sheath. At that moment, Cao Da happened to see Cao Bin and others under the city gate, ready to welcome them, and his eyes lit up instantly. Haha! Brother Yuanrang, look, second brother has come to pick us up. What am I saying? Second brother is a clever strategist, he can even guess exactly when we will arrive at Langya. After speaking, Cao Da's return was like an arrow, and he immediately rode towards the city gate. But when Xiahou Dun saw this, he stared coldly at the city gate, waving his sword to signal everyone to stop in place. Second brother, I'm back. Cao Da didn't know what was happening behind him yet, so he rushed to the city gate and dismounted. He opened his arms to Cao Bin, wanting a hug. And for Cao Bin, who had not seen him for a long time, he also missed Cao Da very much in his heart. Why is it so slow? In one sentence, Cao Da's heart was drenched with coolness. Brother, it's already fast enough. If you don't believe it, ask Yuan Rangu. We travel day and night, and we dare not stop for a moment. Hey, why is he standing there still? Cao Bin's eyes trembled slightly. Of course, he understood what Xiahou Dun meant by this move, but he didn't expect that he would be intimidated by this scumbag before he even met. Humph, it must be Cao Mengde who taught him. This vertical brother is not worth plotting. Fortunately, there is a Cao Song beside me. Dad, look at how grandiose my cousin is. He asked you to go over and invite him into the city. What? If the anger just now was still the acting skills that Tao Qian had to show in order to save money in disaster, then at this moment, Cao Song is really angry. This scoundrel, when I was still surnamed Xiahou, his father had not even been born yet. Now he doesn't even take me seriously. Sigh, how can this man discipline his subordinates? Guanzhi, let's go. I want to take a look. I can't even afford to call him uncle. After speaking, Cao Song stopped riding horses and went straight towards Xiahou Dun, leaning on his cane. Cao Bin quickly supported him, and even with these few steps, Cao Bin did not expect to let Xiahou Dun go. He had been stirring up the fire all along. Therefore, when Cao Song approached, his old face turned green with anger. Humph, General Xiahou has such great official authority. Chapter 7. Huffling Xiahou Dun, New Book Seek Support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was at this moment that Xiahou Dun recognized the old man in front of him. It was also his fault for pretending to be forced on horseback, with his nose facing upwards, without even thinking of looking down. At this moment, his face turned pale and he almost rolled off his horse. Uncle! Uncle! How did you? Why did you come? Oh, you are the father of the Lord. How could Yuan Rang he to let you go out of the city to welcome him? I can't afford it, I can't afford it. Cao Song's eyes trembled slightly, indicating that his remaining anger had not dissipated. Since I know I can't afford it, why not dismount and enter the city? General Xiahou's intention is not to invite me, a dying old man, to you. Xiahou Dun's face was full of bitterness, and he quickly arched his hand to apologize. Uncle, calm down. Yuan Rang really didn't know you were also at the city gate, otherwise Yuan Rang wouldn't dare not dismount and enter the city. Cao Bin's eyes flickered and he jumped out in time. Oh, then we should have come obediently to invite you. What's the point of this family? Big cousin, your official authority is quite great. Xiahou Dun's face darkened, and he turned to look at Cao Bin. Although they had a few encounters in their childhood, they were the first to meet when they grew up. However, based solely on the threefold similarity in appearance between Cao Bin and Cao Cao, Xiahou Dun was able to recognize it. Thinking about his suffering along the way, he gritted his teeth. So you're Cao Bin, you bastard. Do you know what you've done? The Lord asked my uncle to go to Dongjun to fulfill his filial piety, but you refused. Isn't it better to stay comfortably in this small Langya than in this vast Dongjun? Cao Bin was speechless to the extreme. How could Xiahou Dun and Cao Cao know that Dongjun could be obtained? In history, Cao Song was killed on the way to Dongjun, and not a single member of his family survived. However, Cao Bin naturally couldn't say or explain these things, it's just that he doesn't have the same perspective as someone who doesn't read Three Kingdoms. Dad, he bears me. Humph. Cao Song pounded the ground with his crutch, his beard trembling with anger. Xiahou Dun, am I asking you to come to Langya to congratulate you or to provoke you to question? Is there still my father in his eyes? Xiahou Dun trembled all over, but now he could only glare at Cao Bin with hatred and appease Cao Song first. Uncle misunderstood. In fact, the reason why Yuan Rang didn't dismount and go to the city was because he was afraid that so many of us might cause chaos while going to the city. As for Yuan Rang, of course he came here to congratulate Uncle. Look, these things are all entrusted by the Lord to me to bring to you, and each one is worth $1,000. Can Cao Bin use money to calm his father's anger with a flick of his lips? Dad, scold him a few more words. Let me take a look at the gift first. Cao Bin. Dad, it's too easy for you to deceive. However, Cao Song didn't hear what he said at all. He leaned on his cane and checked the gifts one by one. His impatient expression made Cao Bin unable to bear to look straight at him. But Xiahou Dun naturally breathed a sigh of relief and then stared at Cao Bin intently. Vertical son, when you arrive in Dongjun, let's see how the Lord will deal with you. Cao Bin's heart suddenly moved, and he felt that Xiahou Dun was more pleased with him. Oh, that's to say, Big Brother didn't just send you here to send a gift. What's going on? After my father's marriage is over, will my cousin tie us back? Xiahou was startled, and then realized that he had slipped his tongue and could only make the mistake by saying. So what? The Lord just wants to be filial under his knees, is there anything else wrong? On the contrary, it's you bastard who has been blocking my uncle from going to Dongjun. What's your ulterior motives? Cao Bin shrugged his shoulders. What can I have in mind? I just hope my father is happy. As for Dongjun, of course I want to go, but unfortunately, one wave hasn't subsided, and another wave has arisen. Xiahou raised his eyebrows. What does this mean? Cao Bin immediately said. Big cousin is unaware that I did not intend to stop my father from going to Dongjun, because the person my father married was the younger sister of the governor of Langya. In that case, although we can leave in one go, their siblings may never see each other again in their lifetime. Therefore, I suggest that my father get married in Langya, which is also a common occurrence. I just didn't expect that the governor of Xuzhou, Tao Qian, was arrogant and disrespectful of my father. Xuzhou city is so close to Langya, but to this day, Tao Qian still doesn't send anyone to congratulate him. Obviously, he didn't take my father, and my big brother seriously. How can we tolerate this? So I hope my cousin can vent his anger on my father and punish Tao Qian. Only then can my father be willing to go to Dongjun with you. Upon hearing this, Xiahou was not angry but pleased. He had led his troops to Dongjun with a dual mission. Unexpectedly, before anyone else entered Langya, the mission was half successful. In this way, there is no need to send someone to disguise as the defenders of Xuzhou and intercept Cao Song halfway when returning to Dongjun. Humph, old thief Tao Qian, how dare you neglect uncle like this? It's so infuriating for me. Don't worry, when we return to Dongjun, I will inform the Lord about this matter, and then personally lead troops to seize the old thief's Xuzhou city, to vent my anger on my uncle. After speaking, Xiahou waved his sword as if venting his anger. As for Cao Bin, he watched his performance quietly, so he said that his cousin came to Langya right, and surprisingly, he didn't hide it. His thoughts were just as written on his face. Cao Bin was also able to take advantage of the fact that Xiahou was not angry but happy at the moment, and confirmed his own conjecture. As expected, Xiahou came this time with the task of winning the name of Xuzhou for Cao Cao. In that case, I don't have to worry about speaking about him. Big cousin, please forgive me for being blunt. If you really do that, it may only add to Big Brother's mind. What do you think? Currently, LV Bu and Chen Gong are preparing to take Yenzhou. Big Brother needs to guard against these two people. How can he have the time and energy to divide troops and attack Xuzhou? Only a gentleman can seek revenge. It won't be too late for 10 years, but if my cousin listens to my words, it's not a problem to take Xuzhou. Xiahou face froze for a moment. Just as he was about to ask, a flash of inspiration suddenly flashed in his mind. He remembered Cao Cao's instructions to him before leaving, and immediately sneered. Oh, my lord is indeed right. With you alone, do you also want to seize Xuzhou? Die with this heart, Cao Guanzhi. Even if you talk about breaking the sky today, I can't go to Xuzhou with you. Cao Bin remained calm and composed, but instead smiled slightly. Oh, so my cousin already knows my heart. Xiahou face remained expressionless. So what if you know? You're young, don't know the art of war, and don't have any experience leading the army. Even if the Lord has already instructed me, I can't believe you. Cao Bin narrowed his eyes slightly and stopped talking nonsense. Since that's the case, Xiahou Yuanrang, do you dare to bet with me? Chapter 8. Gambling and Fighting. Yang Zaixing vs. Xiahou. You are listening at novel full. Audio. Xiahou face was taken aback for a moment, but he didn't expect this stinky kid to get harder. He immediately sneered. Hee, why don't you dare? Just before that, I need to figure it out. What are you gambling on? Cao Bin hugged his arms and chest. Didn't you say that I don't understand the art of war and have no experience in leading the army? In that case, Guanzhi is not talented. I want to show my eldest cousin the soldiers under my command. I also want to see what my eldest cousin can do. He's so bossy. Upon hearing this, Xiahou Dun glanced at the so-called soldiers under the city gate and couldn't hold back any longer. He burst out laughing. Ha! Cao Bin, you are bringing shame to yourself. Okay, as you said, let's not talk about me being a big cousin's bully. You can choose 10 soldiers under your command, either to go to battle one by one or to fight together. If Xiahou Dun is defeated by one of them, let alone take Xuzhou with you. I will bring you tea and water from now on, and I have no complaints. But if I win, I hope you can be willing to accept the gamble. When my uncle's marriage is over, you must come back to Dongjun with me and wait for the Lord's fate. Cao Bin waved his hand. No need. Xiahou Dun's face darkened. What? At this point, do you still want to go back on your word? Cao Bin directly disdains. I'll go back and check 8. I said it's not necessary, there's no need for 10 people. Come on. Driving, young Zaixing clapped his horse in response and quickly approached Cao Bin in the blink of an eye. Although he and Cao Bin were both monarchs and ministers, they were actually acquaintances in private. However, with outsiders present, young Zaixing showed great respect to Cao Bin. Lord, what are your instructions? Cao Bin flipped over and mounted his horse, pointing to Xiahou Dun and saying. Defeat him. Young Zaixing did not hesitate. Yes, General Xiahou, please. Xiahou Dun did not respond immediately, as the expert could recognize him. He had been far away before and Xiahou Dun had not yet felt it. But when young Zaixing rushed over, Xiahou Dun only felt a chill rushing towards his face. Looking at the big black gun in his hand, goosebumps all over his body began to rise. Hiss, great hero. No wonder your master dares to bet with me. Since that's the case, I won't hold on to it anymore. Just wait a moment, I'll go get my helmet. After speaking, Xiahou Dun immediately rode back to the army. Young Zaixing naturally wouldn't stop him, even if he was only wearing a blue shorthand, he had the confidence to fight against Xiahou Dun. Unfortunately, his protagonist is Cao Bin. I'll only give you 10 rounds. Young Zaixing was taken aback for a moment. How can we say that the difficulty level is the same as the difficulty level? Xiahou Dun is someone who can fight against Guan Yu for hundreds of rounds. I'm not sure if I can defeat him in 10 rounds. Cao Bin's eyes narrowed slightly. If you don't do this, even if you can defeat Xiahou Dun, his heart will definitely be dissatisfied. And these 3,000 elite soldiers will also speak out for their general's grievances. At that time, even if Xiahou Dun was willing to gamble and admit defeat, he was afraid he would not listen to my instructions and enforce prohibitions. But if you can pick him off the horse within 10 rounds, then no matter how much you disagree, you will be completely annihilated in the face of powerful strength. In summary, what I want is a Xiahou Dun who has been subdued and obedient by you. If you continue to prosper, whether you can seize Xuzhou and create our own hegemony depends entirely on your shoulders in this battle. Upon hearing these words, young Zaixing lowered his head and glanced at the black gun in his hand. The bandit aura on his face instantly disappeared, replaced by a strong determination. I understand. Cao Bin curled his lips before turning around. At the same time, Xiahou Dun also put on his helmet, but just as he was about to get on his horse, Cao Song, who was checking the gift, suddenly leaned on a cane and came with a worried face. Yuan Rang, what's wrong with this? It's fine, why are you fighting with my son's subordinates? Xiahou Dun let out a faint sigh. Ah, uncle, it's not that Yuan Rang is aggressive, but Guanzhi is determined to gamble with me. However, uncle, rest assured that the family, Yuan Rang, knows the right balance and will not harm the person named Zaixing. Upon hearing this, Cao Song slowly closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his gaze towards Xiahou Dun was filled with pity. Since you insist on doing so, I can't care anymore. It's just that I've been apart for many years. I wonder if Yuan asked you to marry or have children. Xiahou Dun's heart warmed as he realized that he was a family. Thank you for your concern, uncle. Yuan Rang has already married and has a young son named Xiahou Chong. Cao Song felt relieved. That's good, there's finally a queen. Xiahou Dun was taken aback for a moment. Hey, what does this mean? However, after Cao Song finished speaking, he continued to check the gift. Xiahou Dun didn't think much either. He turned over and mounted his horse, lifting his sword and headed towards Yang Zaixing. I originally intended to bow down to the enemy first and be polite, but I never thought that Yang Zaixing had no leisure at all. A little cold light arrived first, and then the gun shot out like a dragon. Hiss, so fast. Xiahou Dun took a deep breath of cold air and quickly blocked his sword in his hand. At that moment, he only heard a clang sound, with the tip of the gun and the blade clashing, sparking sparks. And in this battle, Xiahou Dun knew better than ever that Yang Zaixing should not be underestimated. Those who have always dared to use their swords have powerful abilities. Yang Zaixing is thin and looks like an agile player at any rate. Xiahou Dun wants to force people, but when he wields a dozen knives, Yang Zaixing's men and horses are not moving, they are black guns in their hands, and they are still as stable as Mount Tai. Haha. I didn't expect this little Langya to have such a good general who would take another blow from me. Xiahou Dun was full of fighting spirit, leaving no trace of his hand behind. He wielded his sword with a gust of wind, using 10% of his strength with each strike. Sparks shot everywhere, but Yang Zaixing still managed to handle it effortlessly. With just one black gun, he completely dissolved Xiahou Dun's moves. But Cao Bin's words still lingered in his ears. Even if Xiahou Dun exhausted his strength, he still had no choice but to take Yang Zaixing. However, if he wanted to win it within 10 rounds, it was just a pipe dream. Coincidentally, Xiahou Dun was fighting on his side and was gradually shocked by Yang Zaixing's marksmanship. Looking at the relaxed and comfortable expression on his face, he immediately became anxious. Look at the knife. Suddenly, with a loud roar, Xiahou Dun swung his sword horizontally and exerted his lifelong strength to chop towards Yang Zaixing. However, precisely because of this, Xiahou Dun's figure became somewhat unstable. Yang Zaixing's eyes flickered, the tail of his gun swung, and he flicked open Xiahou Dun's sword, then shot straight at Xiahou Dun's chest. Upon seeing this, Xiahou Dun was not surprised but rather pleased. He took advantage of the situation and dodged the tip of Yang Zaixing's gun. With a big hand, he pulled the black gun into his hand. Haha! You've been tricked. Laughter was hearty, but his subordinates showed no mercy. Taking advantage of Yang Zaixing's black gun, Xiahou Dun held a knife and cut it once again. Yang Zaixing's face showed fear, and he quickly leaned forward, lying on his horse, to avoid the fatal blow. He quickly turned around and drew out his black gun, while also distancing himself from Xiahou Dun. Humph, if you want to leave, look at the knife. Xiahou Dun snorted coldly, straightened his waist, raised his sword with both hands, and fiercely slashed at Yang Zaixing's back. This move was powerful and heavy, causing everyone to sweat profusely, fearing that Xiahou Dun would not spare his hand and split Yang Zaixing in half with his men and horses. Only Cao Bin's eyes were bright, and as expected, Yang Zaixing had already seen through Xiahou Dun's plan to seize the gun, and all his actions were in accordance with the plan. Reboot. Just as Xiahou Dun was chopping with his sword, Yang Zaixing leaned back and didn't even look, just shot back. Xiahou Dun felt a cold light shining in his eyes, and then his head was empty. The warhorse under his seat was even more startled, and Xiahou Dun was thrown off with a whiff. At the moment when Xiahou Dun was sore all over after being thrown, Yang Zaixing held a black gun, carried a helmet, and rode a horse to deliver it. Although he was commanding, he was polite. "General Xiahou, I have accepted. When will the troops be dispatched in Chapter 9? Now. New book seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio." Xiahou Dun stared blankly at Yang Zaixing, then extended his hand to take the helmet and looked at the hole pierced by a black gun on it, feeling lingering fear. "How did you get that shot? Do you have the ability to distinguish between sound and position? Otherwise, how can you guarantee that a shot will hit my helmet directly?" Yang Zaixing dismounted and smiled upon hearing the words. "Oh, nothing else, only hands are familiar." Xiahou Dun was taken aback for a moment, then stood up and shook his head to laugh, although his smile was slightly bitter. "Haha. Indeed, there is a higher mountain than a higher one, especially General Yang's move of returning the horse gun. If you are not careful in advance, not to mention me, even those 3 family slaves named Liu Bei, I'm afraid you will also drink hatred on the spot." Yang Zaixing nodded for a moment. After all, he won, so let's give him a step. General Xiahou's words are extremely accurate. In fact, I was lucky enough to use my return rifle. If General Xiahou didn't chase me with his horse just now, it is still unknown who will win or lose in this battle. Xiahou Dun showed gratitude on his face. After all, 3,000 people and horses were watching from behind. He had spoken so hard before, and now he has been slapped in the face without saying anything. If he is still ridiculed by Yang Zaixing in public, how can he still have the face to lead the army in the future? But when Xiahou Dun saw Cao Bin galloping over, he knew he was done. However, to the surprise of Xiahou Dun, Cao Bin was not as proud as he thought. Instead, he dismounted and arched his hand, saying, "Big cousin is indeed impressive. The defeat to Rixing this time was all due to luck. Apart from anything else, your sword technique is superior to that of Guanyu, who killed Hua Xiong with warm wine." As soon as these words were spoken, Xiahou Dun almost didn't know Cao Bin. Although the two didn't have much friendship at the moment, he was extremely grateful. "Haha. It's just too much praise. Originally, Ade told me that you have now become very different from before. It can be said that heroes emerge from youth, but I still don't quite believe it. I only realized today that if you can get the help of General Yang, as Ade said, even if your skills are not as good as my lord's, they are not much different." Cao Bin humbly waved his hand. They were all adults, and it was necessary to boast about business. However, he was afraid that after boasting about it, he might forget the main matter. "Since that's the case, cousin, take a look at Su." Before Cao Bin could finish speaking, Xiahou Dun's face turned pale and he quickly turned around and said, "Listen to the orders and enter the city one by one, do not disturb the people of Langya. Uncle, don't be busy checking the gift for now. Later, I will have them carry the gift to your house." After speaking, 3,000 elite soldiers responded in unison, and Cao Song nodded with a smile. When everyone entered Langya County, Xiahou Dun scratched his head and awkwardly smiled at Cao Bin, whose face was gloomy. "Oh, Guanzhi, I won't admit my defeat unless it's my cousin. I'm not sure if I'll take Xuzhou. Although Tao Qian, the old thief, has little ability and the soldiers of Xuzhou are not brave, as far as I know, Langya only has 5,000 defenders, and with the 3,000 elite soldiers I brought this time, they are only 8,000. With just this small amount of troops, we want to eat the vast city of Xuzhou, which is quite imaginative." Cao Bin's face remained expressionless. Why are people like this these days? Can we still have some trust between each other? "Big cousin, with a word from a gentleman, what is the next sentence?" Xiahou Dun was extremely embarrassed, but still said. Without full confidence, I dare not act rashly, otherwise I will lose. How can I represent the main bus? You don't want to watch your soldiers die without reason, do you? Cao Bin stood with his hand on his back. But the problem is, I have full confidence. Xiahou Dun's eyes lit up. Why? Cao Bin said slowly. Bingfa Yun. Surprisingly win. Nowadays, it is widely known that Langye is busy with my father's marriage, and Tao Qian in Xuzhou must also think so. At this moment, if we take advantage of the night and deploy our entire army to Xuzhou, we will be able to catch Tao Qian off guard. Xiahou Dun's face was taken aback, and he immediately took a deep breath of cold air, looking at Cao Bin in shock. So to speak, the real reason why you left your uncle to marry in Langye is to confuse Tao Qian and make him think that Langye will not be unfavorable to Xuzhou. Cao Bin nodded slightly. Exactly, although Tao Qian is old and dim, there are still smart people under his command. Big Brother now occupies Yangzhou, supporting hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Everyone with a discerning eye can see what to do next. Fortunately, at this moment, Lv Bu and Chen Gong wanted to seek the foundation of their elder brother. Tao Qian would surely breathe a sigh of relief upon learning of this. I would then use my father's marriage as an excuse to invite my elder cousin's help, which is reasonable and reasonable. Tao Qian will not doubt it. But big cousin said something wrong. Langye has only a population of 8,000, how can he eat Xuzhou city? I would like to ask big cousin, if Langye has not only a population of 8,000, how can he eat Xuzhou city? Xiahou Dun was taken aback for a moment before finally realizing the key point, and couldn't help but nod. Yeah, if I brought enough people, even if Tao Qian was foolish, he would know that I came here not to congratulate him, but to seize his Xuzhou. Cao Bin's face showed relief, and he wasn't too foolish, as big cousin said, if we want to win by surprise, this moment is the best opportunity. Xiahou Dun's eyes flickered and he finally made up his mind, but his tone was somewhat regretful. Alas, it's a pity that these 8,000 people. Even if they were caught off guard and launched a surprise attack at night, they might still suffer most of the damage if they seized Xuzhou city. Upon hearing this, Cao Bin touched his chin and thought carefully before smiling again, saying, if big cousin wants to take Xuzhou at the lowest cost, there is no way out, but in that case, you will have to risk yourself. Xiahou Dun's eyes widened and he was immediately overjoyed. Oh, there's still a good plan. Just tell me, as long as there are fewer casualties, what's the point of risking myself? However, Cao Bin played a trick. Hey, cousin, you're not right. I've already said so much. Can you give me a word about whether to hit Xuzhou or not? Xiahou Dun laughed heartily. Haha. With General Yang's skills and your good strategy, how could I, Xiahou Yuanrang, miss out on such an opportunity to make achievements and become famous? I just don't know when uncle will get married. Cao Bin spoke up and said. Tonight. Xiahou Dun raised his eyebrows. So we'll send troops tomorrow night. Cao Bin shook his head and his gaze was deep. No, send troops now. Chapter 10. Night Attack on Xuzhou, New Book Seeks Support. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xuzhou City, County Prefecture. The night was already deep, but Tao Qian couldn't sleep for a long time. For some reason, he felt unusually uneasy in his heart. Fortunately, at this moment, the long-awaited two hurriedly arrived, and it was Chen Deng and Chao Bao under Tao Qian's command. Lord Fu, what's the matter? Tao Qian was dressed in clothes, with a wrinkled face full of troubles. After much thought, I still feel it's not appropriate. Indeed, Chao Song did not send me an invitation when he got married, which was due to his poor etiquette. However, Langye is so close to Xuzhou, and as the Lord of Xuzhou, I should still send a congratulatory gift. Chen Deng's eyes lit up. If there were any intelligent people under Tao Qian's command, he would be the first one. The Lord finally understood. It's so good, it's not too late now. Please quickly order someone to go to Langya to make up for the gift. Otherwise, when Cao Cao, the son of Cao Song, heard about this matter, he would surely think that the magistrate was disrespectful of his father and was using his army in Xuzhou. As soon as these words were spoken, the annoyance on Tao Qian's face turned directly into fear. After all, he was not worried about Cao Song, it was Cao Cao who occupied Yanzhou and supported hundreds of thousands of soldiers. But at this moment, Cao Bao beside him snorted coldly. Humph, why does Mr. Yuanlong always boost others' morale and destroy his own prestige? Not bad, Cao Cao is not to be underestimated nowadays. However, as the governor of Xuzhou, the lord of the mansion has always been loyal to the court. He once issued a proclamation to join forces against Dong's bandits, and the lord of the mansion has actively responded. What has been done wrong to him? But when Cao Song got married, even Lu Yan in Yizhou received an invitation, but he didn't invite the magistrate. He really didn't take our lord seriously. Since that's the case, it's clear that the Cao family didn't understand etiquette at first. How could they blame us for being negligent? Upon hearing this, Chen Deng, although annoyed by Cao Bin's lack of foresight, patiently explained. General Cao Bao, there is a great chaos in the world today, and only a few formalities have collapsed. I hope General will prioritize the overall situation and not make a big mistake due to momentary impulses. Besides, from my perspective, Cao Cao is by no means an ordinary person. He only occupies Yanzhou and cannot satisfy his ambition. If what I expect is right, Xuzhou will inevitably fight against him sooner or later. At present, Cao Cao's power is great, while ours is small. If we want to protect Xuzhou, the only solution is to endure. In addition, the magistrate is known for his benevolence and righteousness. As long as Cao Cao cannot find a reason to send troops, Xuzhou will still be worry-free for the time being. So, why not exchange a congratulatory gift for our peace? Cao Bin's face darkened. This is a scholar's opinion. It is precisely because of the chaos in the world and the law of the fittest that we cannot frequently back down. Otherwise, it will spread widely. In the future, not everyone can underestimate Xuzhou and bully the lord of the mansion. Speaking of which, Cao Bin turned his head to look at Tao Qian, who was hesitant, and quickly arched his hand, saying. Rest assured, if Cao Cao really sends troops to Xuzhou, although Cao Bao is not his opponent, as long as Fu Jun orders someone to invite General Zhang Ba stationed in Kaiyang, and then cultivates a book to invite the world's wealthy to help, just one Cao Cao will never win over Xuzhou. Chen Deng turned pale and quickly waved his hand, saying. No way, Lord Fujuan. Why did you invite Dong Zhuo to come to the capital to help? What happened? I remember vividly. If Lord Fujuan invites outsiders into Xuzhou today, it will be the second time to lead wolves into the house. Tao Qian trembled all over, and now he really didn't know what to do. At this moment, the county magistrate came to report. Report. Lord Fu, there is a person outside the city cursing, named Xiahou, who said he came for the matter of Cao Song. Tao Qian's heart sank. Xiahou. Sigh, then. Isn't that a general under Cao Cao's command? How could he be outside the city? Chen Dingyi's heart sank. Lord Fu, as I have said, Xiahou must have come here to demand an explanation from Cao Song for not sending congratulatory gifts in Xuzhou. I hope Lord Fu can hold back the current situation and stabilize Xiahou first. Cao Bao looked impatient upon hearing this, but he was also a bit afraid in his heart. He quickly asked the reporter. How many soldiers and horses did Xiahou bring here? The servant quickly said. There are only 3 people, besides Xiahou, there are also 2 accompanying soldiers. Cao Bao felt relieved and gritted his teeth. Bullying people too much, only 3 people dare to shout and curse outside the city. Where are the archers in the city? If they don't shoot me on the spot. As soon as Chen Deng spoke, Tao Qian was furious. Bastard! Xiahou Dun is not only Cao Cao's general, but also his younger brother. If you shoot him and Cao Cao learns, he will not be able to mobilize the entire army to avenge him. Send me orders, no one should act rashly, otherwise military and legal action will be taken. Come with me and take a look. Chen Deng was immediately overjoyed. Lord Fu, how wise. Qiao Bao had an unhappy expression on his face, but he could only bow his hand and say yes. When the 3 of them arrived at the top of the city wall in Xuzhou, there were indeed only 3 people below. The leader was Xiahou Dun, who was greeting the ancestors of Tao Qian for 18 generations. His words were very unpleasant to hear. Tao Qian, I'll fuck your mother. What kind of person is my uncle? Han Tai Wei, who would be disrespectful when they see him. You are just a governor of Xuzhou, why are you so arrogant and proud? Even Yuan Benchu, the 4th generation and 3rd prince, sent people to congratulate you, but you turned a blind eye. Humph, when I return to Dongjun, I will have the Lord wheel troops in Xuzhou, take off your head, and apologize to my uncle. Upon hearing this, Cao Bao wished he could snatch the bows and arrows of the soldiers on the side and give Xiahou Dun a deep chill. Fortunately, Tao Qian kept an eye on him, which prevented Cao Bao from causing any trouble. But to be honest, can Tao Qian not be angry in his heart? Helplessly thinking of the people of Xuzhou, he could only reluctantly smile and say, sorry for the old face. Ah, General Yuan Rang, do you think Mengde is still safe after leaving Chen alone? Xiahou Dun followed the sound and immediately snorted coldly. Humph, I thought you were a shrunken turtle, and finally you came out. Cao Gongzu, don't be polite. If it weren't for the memory of the Chen-Lu alliance, my lord would have fought alongside you. I would have already returned to Dongjun and asked my lord to deploy my troops. Tao Qian felt relieved in his heart and quickly arched his hand to explain. Thank you very much for reminding General Yuan of my old feelings. Actually, I am not disrespecting old Tai Gong. It is true that old Tai Gong got married and I did not receive an invitation. I thought old Tai Gong didn't like me going, otherwise I would definitely go to Langya personally to congratulate him. Xiahou Dun's face was taken aback. He had been wondering why Tao Qian, who had been the governor of Xuzhou for so many years, didn't understand any of the world's complexities. I didn't invite you at all, this one is really damaging. However, as the matter came to an end, Xiahou Dun naturally pursed his lips. Didn't invite me. Huh, are you treating me like a 3-year-old child? My uncle, such a reasonable and good friend, how could he invite everyone but forget about you, Tao Gongzu? Alright, Tao Qian, don't look for any more reasons. This account has already been recorded on your head. I came here today and didn't listen to your explanation. Tao Qian wanted to cry without tears, but he couldn't explain why, so he could only admit defeat. General Yuan, please rest assured that I will immediately have someone prepare a generous gift for you to bring back to Langya. When I have time, I will personally go to Langya to apologize to the old Tai Gong. Xiahou Dun's eyes narrowed slightly. What about sending beggars? I came all the way from Langya to raise a teacher and ask for punishment. Do I want your generous gift? Tao Qian's voice trembled as he said. So. What else does the general want? Xiahou Dun reached out his hand directly and pointed to Tao Qian on the city wall, saying. Come down, kowtow and plead guilty. You. Tao Qian's eyes widened, and even the most honest person became angry. Cao Bao even snatched the bow and arrow of the soldier beside him, and looked fiercely at Xiahou Dun and Tao Qian, saying. Lord Fu, this is a very aggressive situation. If we continue to endure, won't we still have to hand over Xuzhou? Tao Qian frowned, even if he had a fire in his heart, he dared not kill Xiahou Dun. He quickly looked at Chen Dang beside him. Yuan Long, what do you think? Chen Dang's eyes flickered, and Tao Qian was no longer there. He shouted directly towards the city below. General Yuan Rang is also a person who knows the etiquette. Why don't he hear men kneeling down? He can only kneel down to the emperor, to the heavens, to his parents. Even if you show off your temporary arrogance, you will still be shameless by the heroes of the world. Even General Cao will be laughed at. Why don't we ask the general to come to the city for a moment? Even if he really wants to kowtow and plead guilty, he should still be there when there is no one around him. After speaking, before Xiahou Dun could reply, Chen Dang whispered to Cao Bao beside him. General Cao Bao, be careful. If Xiahou Dun agrees to enter the city, please shoot him immediately. Cao Bao was momentarily stunned. Mr. Yuan Long, didn't you keep saying that you couldn't hurt Xiahou Dun? Tao Qian was also foolish. Yeah, Yuan Long, why is that so? Chen Dang glanced down at the city and frowned to the extreme. Something's wrong. I thought about it again just now. Xiahou Dun has no reason to come to Xuzhou to question him. Cao Cao has long wanted to take Xuzhou, and he already has a reason. Why bother with this? Moreover, Xiahou Dun has always been aggressive, afraid that he wants to use this to deceive the city gate. Lord Fu, there may be ambushes outside the city, and they want to attack Xuzhou at night. Tao Qian took a deep breath of air, but his face also became sinister. Hiss, if that's the case, then even if we don't fight, we'll have to fight this battle. Cao Bao's eyes lit up as it hit his lower abdomen. He immediately retreated and then arched with his bow. And Xiahou Dun below the city also nodded. Yes, as Qin Yuanlong had anticipated, there were indeed 8,000 ambushes hidden outside the city of Xuzhou in the dark of the night. They only waited for the gate of Xuzhou to open wide before entering in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, Cao Bin is a traveler. He knows that there is a cunning Chen Dang in Xuzhou. Isn't this? Xiahou Dun had just finished nodding but had not yet responded. The two soldiers behind him were not outsiders, but rather Yang Zaixing and Wang Gang, who quickly blocked him. General, this is the plan of Tao Qian's old thief. If General enters Xuzhou city, he will become their lamb to be slaughtered. Yes, General. Once you go, you will definitely become a hostage for Tao Qian. When the time comes, the Lord will worry about you and dare not lead troops to attack Xuzhou. Upon hearing these words, Xiahou Dun's face turned pale and he immediately pulled back his horse. He pointed his sword directly at Tao Qian and shouted loudly. Old thief! How dare you deceive me? Wow, I was kind-hearted. As long as you kowtow and confess, this matter will be over. But you want to harm me. Let's go back to Dongjun and tell the Lord everything. After speaking, Xiahou Dun immediately slammed his horse and turned around, followed closely by Yang Zaixing and Wang Gang. Tao Qian and Cao Bin looked at each other, then turned their heads together to look at Chen Dang. Chen Dang looked bewildered. Well, I might have guessed wrong. Cao Bin was speechless for an instant, and his bow and arrow landed on the ground. That's it, the misunderstanding is even bigger now. Tao Qian was even more anxious than before, watching Xiahou Dun and his three companions ride on top of the dust. He quickly waved his hand and said. Quick, prepare your horse, open the city gate, I'm going to chase after General Yuan. After finishing speaking, Tao Qian quickly got off the city wall, flipped over and mounted his horse. When the Xuzhou city gate creaked, he slowly opened it and rode out. Upon hearing the sound of the city gate behind him, Xiahou Dun, Yang Zaixing, and Wang Gang looked at each other, immediately clapped their horses and turned around, galloping towards Xuzhou city while shouting loudly. Kill!